Welcome, my friends. We are broadcasting live every Monday evening here in Spain. So welcome to our new viewers from across the pond in the US who are now able to join us live in the morning over there. Tell us what time it is where you're watching from. And wakey to most of you, because it might be quite early. Get the coffee on. Following on from last week's show about advanced planning for the non-lucrative visa, today's topic is how to save money on your currency exchange when you're planning in advance for your move to Spain or your property purchase. It gets more important the longer the time in advance you're planning. So we'll learn all about that. You can type in your questions over there on the live chat or down there, wherever it is, or in the comments if you're watching back afterwards, and you will get the answers you need from an expert currency trader who has an exclusive special offer for YouTube watchers only. Exclusive, that's what it means. We'll help you all the way through the show so you can do the Spain thing too. You are all very welcome to YouTooSpain. And here comes the theme tune. Hold on to your hats. Oh, yes, that's a bit powerful now, isn't it? And groovy. Speaking of groovy, let's welcome Rory Halloran from Smart Currency Exchange. Hola, Rory.
Hola, Skatz. How are you doing?
Very, very good. Thank you. It's lovely over here in Spain. We've got towards 30 degrees on the thermometer. How is it over there?
Yeah, we've got a very nice October day. Actually, it's about 20 degrees, blue skies. So it's a nice coming to the end of the summer. It's a good day.
Are you sure you're in England?
It's
on holiday
this morning, I tell you.
Brilliant. Well, I hope it continues for you. Let's say a quick hello to everyone joining us on the live chat before we begin. We said hi from David Dack. That's a name I'm not sure I've seen before on the live chat, so welcome if that's the first time. And Paul Cook says, good evening, Skatz and Rory. Lovely. And if you've joined us, and I can see that more people are joining us all the time, stick a comment in there. Don't be afraid, we won't bite. It's just typing. You don't have to appear on the screen or anything, unless you really want to, and then I can ask you, come on the show, tell us all about your adventure. And David Dack says, let me be the first. What does that mean? What do you need now to live in Spain? Well, tell you what, I've got the answer to that. And it goes like that. It depends. It depends on a lot of things. And I'm wearing the It Depends YouTooSpain t-shirt today. To live in Spain, the first thing you need to know is, do you have an EU passport or not? So there you go. Answer that one for us and we'll move on. He's wanting to get out of England. I think he says there, still getting out of England. And Evan Silly, nice name. Hello from Chicago, getting ready to do the move. Whoa, what a wonderful place Chicago is. Was that Chicago the Windy City? Is that? I think so. What time is it in Chicago? Evan, lovely to have you watching the show. Okay, that's lovely. So, David Dack says not. Okay, so you haven't got the ability to just come over here and live and work. So you will need one of the various different visas that you can get, depending on your age. It depends on your age. Are you of retirement age? That might help, because then you can get the S1, which gives you free healthcare. That's one of the things. That we have lots of videos on the channel, by the way, and we're talking about the non-lucrative visa next week with my regular expert guest Chris from Up Sticks. There we go. So check out the videos on the channel, and put a comment or a question underneath one of those videos. Find the channel, watch some of the videos. You can search for lots of ones which talk about different kinds of visas. The non-lucrative visa is the most popular. Or watch the show next week and we can take you through all of the different things you need for the non-lucrative visa. There you go. And Evan said, he says, do I need to get a Spanish account right away? Spanish bank account or a currency exchange account? We'll answer the one about the currency exchange account in a little bit. Evan says it's 11 a.m., 11:04 a.m. So that means 7 hours behind. There we go. 7 hours behind Spain. And that's 6 hours behind the UK. There we go. There we go. David says he will have a look at the videos. There we go. Okay, let's get on with the topic. Carry on asking questions down the side and we'll pop in and out of the live chat as we go on. And I'll answer yours in a minute, Evan. Right, we're especially looking today at planning well in advance. So first of all, Rory, give us a bit of background on exchange rates, especially let's talk about the pound and the dollar against the euro and how much they fluctuate over, say, 1 or 2 years and what's been happening recently.
Sure, yeah, certainly will do. Well, good evening to those people in mainland Europe. Good morning to viewers joining us from across the pond. Just to give you a little bit of background about ourselves as a company first of all. So I'm from Smart Currency Exchange. I work as one of the account managers here, have done for just over 4 years now. Smart, we are a currency exchange specialist focusing primarily on the property market. So our main goal is to keep buying costs as low as possible for our clients within a sensible budget. Currency markets are an extremely volatile place, which you may have noticed a lot over the last few months as well. So our job is to work with you on that, make sure the timing of the transaction is at the best time for you. So if you look across the last 12 months for the pound to euro exchange rate, a lot of you might have seen this with doing holiday money when you've been traveling abroad. Exchange rates have changed an awful lot. Since December last year to where we are now, we've seen the exchange rate fluctuate by over 6%, which is a significant change. A lot of that has been caused in the UK by current government situation. I won't delve into it too much, but there was a lot of stuff in the news about Great Bereaved, Keir Starmer, which isn't necessarily helping the pound. On top of that, there's a lot of weak economic data, so no real economic growth in terms of the actual economy. There's been unemployment data going up as well, which all leads to the pound losing value against the euro. And then interest rates as well. It's a big decision in the UK with interest rates, the Bank of England, whether they can reduce them with inflation levels, stuff like that. Uncertainty around that causing the pound value as well. So quite a lot of fluctuations over the last 10 to 12 months on the pound. And then looking at the dollar, it's unfortunately not a pretty picture for the dollar either. So again, last 12 months or so, we've seen over 14% now of fluctuation between the high and the low, which is a significant decrease in the value of the dollar. A lot of that has been caused by Mr. Trump himself with his tariffs that he announced earlier this year. Again, a lot of political uncertainty in the US, which I'm sure a lot of people are in touch with the news and stuff like that. And again, interest rates has been some big stuff with Trump clashing with the federal bank in the US, who are in control of the interest rates. Mr. Trump's trying to sort of influence that and keep them high. The Fed almost want to lower them. But again, that uncertainty, the market doesn't like that. Markets don't like uncertainty.
And then there's the government close down, which seems to deepen by the day.
Yes.
That's really dropped the dollar against the euro, I think, or certainly against the pound.
Yeah, both the dollar against the pound and the euro. It's not doing too well, unfortunately.
So yes, actually, should we look at the examples first? We'll come back to the question that I've got about the different ways that you can exchange currency in a moment. So while we're thinking about planning ahead, let's do this example. So if you're moving your money from the UK or the US to Spain and you've got savings to support, let's say, the non-lucrative visa, and you're planning to buy a property in Spain as well, let's say you've got 400,000 euros altogether, which is quite a conservative number, really. If you're buying a property and you're trying to get a visa as well, you've probably got more than that. And we'll do it in either dollars or pounds. So how much has the amount of euros you would end up with changed over the last year? What's the sort of minimum and maximum in from dollars or UK?
Yeah, good question. So, well, based on the movement there of the 6% on the pound to the euro, so between the sort of the high and the low of the euro figure, I think I've based it on say £400,000, which obviously is slightly more in euros, but you would
Mhm.
have got at the lower end sort of 456,000, which would have been, well, in honesty, in the last couple of months, and the higher end would have been back in December, which would have been over 486,000 euros, which is a fluctuation there of give or take 28,000 euros between the high and the low point. And same again for the dollar. It's just a much larger figure. It's about a $57,000 change or cost difference between getting 400,000 euros now versus where it would have been 6-7 months ago, so a lot earlier this year. Some significant movements there.
That's an awful lot, and that's just in a year. I mean, if you look at 5 or 6 years, the UK to the euro, there used to be a 1.45 at one point. No, is that more? That's more than 5 years ago, I think. You're talking about 2007, 2008. That's when it just dropped completely.
Yeah. And then obviously
Yeah. Oh, you're frozen. Can't hear you anymore. Are you still there? Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Your voice has come back now. You dropped out there for a minute and you just completely froze. So just repeat the last thing you said, if you remember. You're frozen again. That's not good. We seem to have a connection problem.
Let me... Is that
Are
any
you
better
moving?
for you now?
I can hear you now. I can hear you now, yes.
Apologies, I'm not sure what happened there. No, I was just saying, yeah, and obviously sort of Brexit levels back in sort of 2015, 2016 was some of the better rates we've seen over the last 10 years or so.
Yes, indeed, yeah. That's the announcement of the referendum. That was a bit of a turning point, I think. Yeah. Okay, let's just have a look at Evan's question there. It's all about the non-lucrative visa. Let's see. I'm applying for the non-lucrative visa. I have a BLS appointment, but overwhelmed. What do I need to do first with my money here before leaving? That's a question we'll just come to in a minute, Evan. I'll ask exactly the same in a moment. Just don't forget, everybody, that there's a QR code up in the corner, as well as a super link in the video description below. The super link has got everything to do with YouTooSpain and also Skatz, that's my live music. So if you need to get any of those contact details, any of the Facebook channels, the Facebook group, everything, and including the link to buymeacoffee.com, which is this one up here. So if you've learned something of value today, or if you've been entertained, then use the link or that QR code to donate a cup of coffee, or 3 or 5 or 25, whatever you think today's show is worth for you. Okay, so let's just leap back to the question that I leapfrogged earlier. And there are various different ways that you can exchange currency. I think it covers it to say there's banks, high street banks, then there's the online banks, and then there's currency exchange companies. I think that's the main three. Take us through the differences between them and maybe any issues that people should be aware of.
Yeah, sure. Well, I'll start with the banks, of high street banks. It's still a relatively common way that people manage their currency. I think more just because if the bank is on the high street, not necessarily aware of services like ourselves. The banks, it's a safe way to move your money. I'm not going to disagree with that. The main sort of downside of the banks is firstly the transactional side of it. So it's simply a way of them doing the exchange for you. So if you think about buying in Spain, you've generally got 3 payments to make. So your reservation deposit, normally a 10% deposit, and then your balance upon completion. So each time you'd go to your bank, you'd say, right, I want to move this amount of currency. Can you do it for me? Which they can do. The exchange rate each time is going to be different, which is not going to have a significant impact probably on the first 2 payments because they're relatively small. But on that larger payment, if you've not timed the market well, and if you're looking 3 months ago to where we are now, your costs would have changed significantly. So you're taking a big gamble on where that might be. On top of that, the exchange rates, a lot of high street banks, both in the US and the UK, provide, for example, a significantly lower or not very competitive versus what we can provide our clients. So you're sure, if you're doing a trade today with ourselves versus a Barclays, a HSBC, something like that, the exchange rate cost difference is just going to be a lot lower with ourselves than with them. And again, banks can potentially charge you a fee just for doing the transaction, whereas ourselves, there's no additional fees or costs. It's all built into the exchange rate.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at online banks, I know they're becoming more popular now. The likes like Revolut and Monzo. They have their own. They're good, I would say, for smaller amounts of money. I personally use Revolut myself for traveling around Europe and stuff like that, which I think is fine. Revolut isn't officially a bank. It doesn't have a banking licenses, mainly due to issues they've had around fraud and stuff like that. So the UK government won't grant them a banking license in the UK. Make that what you will. Most clients I speak to wouldn't feel comfortable putting hundreds of thousands of dollars or pounds through a company that doesn't have a banking license, which is understandable. Again, it's very transactional with them, so they give better exchange rates than what the high street banks do. But again, it's all about timing on the day, right? So if the exchange rate isn't favorable on that day at that time, then you're just going to be paying a lot more potentially for your purchase. With ourselves, we're here to manage the whole process for our clients. So as I've mentioned, there's a lot of risk in the currency markets. When you're looking at the non-lucrative Visa of 400,000 euros, a 1% movement, which can happen in the matter of minutes and in a day, is a 4,000 euro swing. We're here to try and help time that. You can take exchange rates on the day with ourselves if you want to, but what we're mainly here to help with is the ability to fix an exchange rate with something called a forward contract. So you can essentially lock an exchange rate in from the day you have your offer accepted. That then fixes your cost in dollars, pounds, whatever currency you might have. And that just takes out any risk of what might happen to exchange rates in the future. On top of that, it only requires a 5% deposit. So if you're moving, let's say £300,000, we would need £15,000 now, and the balance wouldn't be due until completion of your property. So it just gives you a lot more flexibility if you're selling somewhere in the UK to finance it, or you're waiting on funds to come through from a pension, or you want to leave your money in investments and stuff like that. Obviously, one benefit at the moment is stocks and shares are doing really well in the US and the UK. So you can continue to earn on that right up until you complete as well. So a lot more benefits of using a service like ourselves.
Yes, absolutely. That contract looking ahead is great, and I suppose the further in advance, and you can also a client can say to you, "Can I wait until it's X exchange rate, and then we'll do the deposit then and do the deal, and then that fixes that for the future."
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So if there's a certain rate that a client has in mind, or it sort of aligns with their budget, you can target that with ourselves as well. So we can set up like an exact trigger with the banks. As soon as we can achieve that, it runs 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. So it's a good way to target an exchange rate, and we can then fix that in for you as well. So yeah, a variety of options depending on clients' risk levels as well, which is good.
Yeah. So that was. Is there anything else in relation to that planning ahead that that you can do that the banks and the online accounts can't?
Yeah, with ourselves, it's the whole account management service. So getting yourself set up with ourselves sooner rather than later is something I would definitely recommend. You don't need to commit to anything on the day we have a conversation. The initial chat will be about your plans, how you're funding a property, where your money is currently, what your budget looks like, your timescales, when you might be going out on a trip. So the account manager will have that conversation with you, can then best understand how they can assist with your plans. And then from there, they'd have direct catch-ups with you, see how your plans have progressed. Whereas again, with the banks or the online only providers, it's very much for yourself to manage. You'll be the ones watching the exchange rate markets, having to make all those decisions by yourself, which if you've not done it before, can be quite a daunting process. So yeah, definitely recommend getting assistance from someone like myself as one of the account managers, who specializes in that and can help make recommendations as best as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And the recommendation I can personally recommend, Rory, you're actually my account manager, aren't you? And he
Yes.
took over from Jack Wiggs, who we used to have on the show quite regularly. And Jack did my exchange way back, more than 4 years ago now, when I did mine. So that was great. One of the things that he said, well, when I said, "So when's the best time? What should I do? Should I take this rate or should I wait for this?" He's saying, "Well, one thing we don't have is a crystal ball, and
Yes.
we can't advise you on when, but we can advise you of what the possibilities are."
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, unfortunately, that's the thing with currency. No one has the crystal ball. The most important thing when buying the property is your budget. Also, we'd love exchange rates to go to the moon. It'd make the whole process a lot easier for so many people, but nobody knows that. Guaranteeing your budget is probably the most important thing. A really good way to look at it is, if you're buying a property in your home country, once you've had that offer accepted, that's not going to change. It's going to cost you X amount of dollars, pounds, etc. When you're buying overseas, that euro figure's fixed. That's not going to change if you're buying in Spain. What's always moving is your source currency, so your pounds, your dollars. That's constantly going up and down. So the sooner you've got that fixed and agreed, then it takes out any risk of the rates. You can then focus on all the other things that are needed with the purchase.
Excellent. And how far ahead of you move for purchase can you do a trade?
So you can lock an exchange rate sort of 12 months in advance. So a lot of clients I do speak to like to fix their budget ahead of time, ahead of going on a trip, so they know exactly what they've got available to spend in euros. So you can fix it for 12 months in advance. Like I said, you can speak to us ahead of booking any trade, so 18 months, 24 months in advance as well if you wanted to. Just you've got that contact there.
Yeah. So if it goes up to 1.2 or something, then you just go, yeah, let's fix something in now, shall we?
Exactly,
Yeah.
that's definitely a possibility.
Yeah, yeah. And that's about as high as it's gone. Well, 1.21, I think, is the highest it's gone since
Yes,
the massive drop from 1.45.
indeed.
Yes, it'd be nice to have a 1.45 again. Yeah. Oh, up sticks to Spain is there. Good evening, Chris. Nice to have you watching. And Chris will be back with us next week. I'll tell you all about the next show later on. And Evan Silly, I think what we've probably answered your question there with all of the questions that I've asked since you asked it. If there's anything more specific you'd like to know, then ask again on the live chat. But yes, but don't be overwhelmed. The best thing to do, get an account through the link below for Smart, and you'll also get the special offer as well if you sign up and do an exchange in the limited time. We'll talk about what that is any second now. And Lauren has joined us. Lauren Georgiou says hi. Had to join late today, catching up now. Lovely, lovely to have you there. So, here's the exciting bit. For YouTooSpain viewers, you've got a special offer for us. So that when people use the link in the comments and the video description to start an account and make an exchange, what happens? Tell us about that and the huge amount of extra information guides that you can send out too.
Yeah, I'll run you through the process. If you're to click on through the link, it will vary slightly dependent on where you are. So as we're a UK-based company, if you're a UK resident, it's very easy for us just to verify your details, so address and date of birth, etc., against the electoral roll. So if you click on that, it'll take you 5 minutes, populate all the information we require. It'll ask for a little bit about your plans. You can just give a bit of information on that. Once your account's open and set up, you'll be assigned an account manager. If you would like to deal with me directly, I'll be more than happy to assist. You can request for that once you're going through the application process. For clients based internationally, again, it's quite a straightforward process. We just will require some documentation just for verification to get you all set up. So it's normally a proof of address, like a bank statement or utility bill, something like that, and then proof of ID, so like a copy of your passport, and that's just for verification purposes. Again, once the account's all set up, that's you done. You'll be put through to an account manager like myself, and we'll be then the one dealing with you as your point of contact. And then the exciting news is until the end of November, so a relatively limited period of time, if you just get yourself all set up through the link, and do a transaction of the equivalent of 1,000 euros before the end of November. So it can be any currency that equates to 1,000 euros. You'll be credited a €50 voucher onto your account for a future transaction. And that's any level of trade between now and November. You'll be credited a voucher for €50. So yeah, a nice little voucher there for people to take a look at. So be grateful for people to get themselves set up and in touch with myself.
Yeah, and you can get, I don't know, you probably 4 or 5 menu del dias for that. So it's well worth it.
Indeed.
And you've got sort of information packs that you can send out as well for lots and lots of different things. So just give us an idea of the sort of range of what you've got there.
Yeah, good point, Skatz. So there's a variety of detail into buying in Spain specifically, a guide about just buying generally overseas. We've got a trader's guide which covers a wide range of sort of pitfalls and problems that you might encounter when purchasing. It gives you some overview of those fluctuations that I've mentioned. It gives you some examples of if you did this at this time versus at another time, how that might affect your exchange rate. So once you're all set up, we can provide any range of those guides yourselves. It's always really good free guides as well, so you don't have no cost involved in actually getting them sent across to you via an email. They can be really helpful just to give you a bit of background about the whole currency exchange process, which a lot of our clients do find useful.
Yeah, brilliant. And it's not just about currency exchange either. There's loads of other things about getting visas and all that kind of thing. So, which
Indeed,
sort
exactly
of links in with the sort of network that we are, sort of helping each other out with information, and because it covers a lot of what Chris from Upsticks to Spain does. But yeah, so read the guide and then speak to Chris. That's the thing. If you want to talk about visas and residency, that's how it all works, and it's all very helpful. Lovely. Let's answer Evan. Because this goes to another question that I have as well. I have a credit union account. Will it be difficult since it's a regional account from California?
Shouldn't be any problems with credit unions sending funds to ourselves. So we've got a couple of solutions for US clients, because I know state laws are different in all the states in the US. It can be slightly more difficult with moving money internationally. But we've got a couple of solutions for US-based clients for that. So we've received money from credit unions previously, so that shouldn't be any problem as far as I'm aware. Sometimes if clients are concerned about the issues, what we normally would recommend is setting up a tester trade with ourselves, for example, for say $50, $100, testing the process, see if that works, and then obviously if it does, fantastic. You can then look at doing the larger amount. So it's always a good way to work around that.
That's a good idea. Yes. Yeah. And do you have? I know you have UK accounts and you have an account in the EU, so that's really helpful for avoiding any bank charges. That because some Spanish banks, when they accept money from a foreign bank, they will charge the account holder for that. But you can avoid that from the UK. Can you do the same from the US?
Correct. Yes. So we've got a German-based euro account. So that avoids any charges, because the Spanish banks are notorious for charging on receipt of funds. For US clients, we can send from a US dollar account. That does help, because then once dollars come into us into a dollar account, and then we'd send the euros from that EU-based account. So that should avoid any issues of any other fees or charges on receipt.
Excellent. Good. Thank you for all your questions, Evan. You're filling up the live chat space there with the very useful stuff that people need to know. So, any more questions before we get? We've not got very many questions to answer, really. I think we've covered a lot of the topic. So, get on the live chat. Just say hello on there as well if you haven't got a question, and tell us all about yourself and what your plans are. So we've done the special offer, and we've talked about the process of setting up your account, And is there any more advice you can give on anything we need to know or to be prepared for?
Yeah, I think it's probably just, like I said, getting yourself prepped sooner rather than later. There's no commitment or obligation to use our service once you are set up. And once you are set up, you get access to such a wide range of information and expertise with ourselves. So please do get yourself set up and with an account going forwards. Just to make people aware as well, I know we've covered off what's happened with exchange rates in the past. Going forward, just to give you a bit of context, a lot of people based in the UK will be aware of the budget due out at the end of November, which is likely to lead to possibly increased risk in the pound there with tax increases and stuff like that. And then obviously, well, the separate issues in the US still with Trump and the Fed and stuff like that. So a lot of risk on the table for our client. It's always best to be prepared ahead of time rather than wait until you found the property and then be like, oh no, all panicked and stressed. So like I said, just prepare ahead of time would be my key advice to wrap up.
Brilliant. Yes. Very, very good. Evan had a question, which is, with the special offer of first trade, where does the money go? That's an interesting question. You just throw it at you and it just disappears.
No. So we could hold the euros for you. So if you're doing a US dollar to euro transfer, we can arrange that transfer. We can then hold the 1,000 euros for you, and then we'd credit the 50 euro voucher onto your account for a future transaction. If you do have a euro account set up, then also we can onward transfer those funds. But yeah, we're more than happy to hold funds for our clients as well in our client accounts.
Brilliant. He says, I think you answered. You can set up the account with the free offer. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yes, going through that link will automatically link yourself to Skatz, and then once you do that transaction, you'll automatically be applied the voucher on the account as well.
Brilliant. Okay. Make sure, by the way, everybody, to smash the like button. Smash it into smithereens. Only click it once, though. If you click it twice, it cancels it out. So, yeah. Don't smash it. There's no need for violence. And of course, it's subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you do click on the bell and click all when you do that, because if you don't, then you'll only get what the algorithm selects that it wants to tell you, and you don't get all the notifications. But that's all free, and yeah, do that. That's always really helpful, and then you'll be the first to find out what's going on YouTooSpain. And I'm just going to show you one or two things before we slide away. That you may have seen the short video that I did on YouTooSpain. It's under shorts, and it's only 2.5 minutes long, and it tells you what's going on YouTooSpain this week, and also for the Skatzman, my live gigs. And Evan says, this was great. I'm not overwhelmed anymore. Wonderful. And that is excellent. Send us in a review. That'll be wonderful. Put it in the comments. Yes, so that little video that I did, the shorts. So there's so many things going on this week that I had to make a video all about it. But I just wanted to tell you, I'm going to share a screen now that I did. There's things that happen to me daily that I like to report on in some of the videos. I'm just going to show you this one, because there's lots of advantages in living in a small town like this. Let me just make sure we're still on the screen. There we go. So this is the car park that you can park in Compter, where I live. Beautiful white village up in the hills, Pueblo Blanco they call them, and that's right in the centre of town. It's lovely. It's an outdoor car park. It's shaded by the trees, but there's also the indoor car park next door, which is 3 or 4 floors as well. But that's a prime position, because I've just literally pulled in off the street and parked there. And I had a doctor's appointment just to get the results of my blood tests this morning, and got that place straight away. And it's 10 yards away from the health centre. And after I'd come out and I did put up some posters for my gigs this weekend, and I got back to the car, and that's the view through my car windscreen. As you can see, the birds above in the trees have obviously been having some kind of Vimto party, because there's all kinds of purple gunk on my windscreen, but thankfully I did manage to clean it all off. But anyway, that's just a little report of some of the things that happened to me. And one of the hazards of doing the show at this time, I'm not complaining about it, but normally I have my dinner, which is not a very Spanish thing to do at this time of day. Most Spanish people don't go out. If they're going out for dinner, they don't go out until like 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock in the evening. But so today, instead of my dinner, I just had a sandwich, and I wanted to show you. This is really kind of Spanish sandwich, chicken and chorizo with those jalapenos. Fantastic, lovely and hot, and a bit of mayo on there. So that's my little report. This is what I'm eating. I'm sure you're all very interested in that, but a lot of the things I do are more like this. This is the band that I play in. That's me on the right, obviously, if you recognise me, wearing all of the colourful clothing. I am Groovy, and the other one's Cool, and we're playing at the La Plaza in Cañas de Albaida, which is the next village to Comporta, from 8 o'clock until 11 o'clock in the evening on the 17th, which is a week on Friday. There we go. And I'm also playing, as I reported on my little video, the short video earlier on today, in Siddhartha restaurant, or Siddhartha on the Rock it's called. Lovely restaurant, this Saturday. And I put in some surprise tunes every time I play there. It's one of my favourite places to play. So there you go. That's all we have time for this week. And so hover over the QR code, buy me a coffee before you go, or 3 or 5 if you haven't already. And in a few moments, I'll tell you all about next week's show with my expert guest, Chris from Upsticks. But for now, let's give Rory a big virtual kiss and a hug and say goodbye for now. We'll no doubt see you in the new year sometime, probably. That'll be a good time to come back on. And anything to tell us before you go?
No, that's all from me. Thanks very much for having me, Skatz. I'll leave you to your evening, and good luck everyone who is buying property over in Spain.
Brilliant. Thanks very much. We'll see you soon.
Brilliant. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. Well, wasn't that groovy? It's a nice short show this week. I like it when we keep it short, and a lot of you out there do too. And when you see that there's a video on and you see that it's an hour and a half long, you go, well, I haven't really got time to watch all of that. But you do to watch this one. And you can always scroll backwards and forwards as well to find the bit that you want, because after I've finished on the show, finished recording it live, then it becomes a video, and then I can watch it back and put in some time codes, and you'll find them right across the bottom of the screen. It's that red line that goes there. So that was groovy. Next week's show then is part 2 of our updated guide to the whole non-lucrative visa process. We're covering it. It's a what they call a deep dive on YouTube. So we've done, last week we did the what's called the planning way ahead. We're talking about 2 or 3 years in advance of the things you might need to do. So next week is part 2, and I think we're going to cover the period that's a bit closer to the time that you're preparing to get your visa appointment and everything that goes in front of that as well. So we look forward to seeing you on that. It's going to be a great show. Don't miss it. Chris is a bit of an expert on that whole process, and he's got an office full of people who can help you through the whole thing and guide you once you get to Spain, and hold your hand in the police station while he helps you navigate the process, and he produces all kinds of document files that are in exactly the right order that the officials need to see things in. So it's a lovely process to go through. I've been through it myself. So there we go. In the meantime, keep your eyes on the Facebook group and page for any more details. The links are down below. And I'll see you, first of all, on the shorts all the way through the week, and on the Friday video at 6 o'clock Spanish time in the evening, or next Monday live at 6 p.m. Spanish time with Chris from Upsticks. Somebody pass around the currency cookies. Peas and fluff, my friends. And I'll leave you all with a message from the voices in my head, if you can believe that, at YouTooSpain. Here we go. See you soon. Bye for now. Wave goodbye, lads. Bye.
Goodbye.
Toodaloo. Peace and love.
Peas and fluff. Oi, oi. Don't do anything I wouldn't do.
One more cosmic dance?
All right then.
Look, Mum, I'm dancing. Oh, I'm all a quiver.
Let's dance.